Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Ingrid and so thank you so much for joining me today. You guys, I really thought that 2020 was a bad year, the worst year actually. But it seems like 2022 is taking a lead and 2020 is now a runner-upper. We seem to be dealing with the different issues that are causing a lot of fatigue, that are really causing a lot of exhaustion, to be honest with you. Things are not normal, let me say it that way. And so as promised though, on the last video, that I'll be updating you guys on how my preps have been holding up in 2022. Now, I should say that I had hoped for a milestone this year when it comes to my preps due to how I progressed last year. So I just assume that since 2021 was a little bit better than 2020, then that means 2022 will also be better than 2021. But I soon to find out that it doesn't work that way. I realized that 2022 is here with its own challenges, and some of them are really here to stay, you guys. Just take a look at my local store here. I was told, though, in this case, that the store was out of power. But I should mention that the store is already having difficulties filling up its shelvings. There's always gaps there and there in the store since 2020. So whatever they said, I had to take that. I mean, there's nothing I could have done but just to take whatever their explanation was. But you guys, this is just telling us one thing. Despite the reason why this is empty, it's telling us one thing, that tomorrow is not guaranteed. There will be time when we go to the store and find something like this. Right, without any warnings, without any announcement. And that is what we need to understand. That's what we're prepping for, that there's just going to be things that are going to happen without the announcement that we hope for from our leaders. And that's a reason actually why parents had to cross the border just to go get the baby formula. It is because they were not warned. The news basically spread out when the baby formula was already out and parents were already struggling to find baby formula. It was not before then. So you guys, we need to be aware of this and prep with really the intention of not having to struggle if this is the case. And so going back to my prep, you guys. So what's so alarming, you guys, is that I've been not able to replace the items at the same rate that I'm using them due to inflation, which has been rising faster than I can catch up to. So between shrinkflation and inflation, as a new prepper, I'm really having a hard time updating my preps. So not only are the shelves in the stores dwindling, shrinkflation and inflation is really bad. And the combination of all is a perfect storm, you guys. So at the end of the day, I'm already eating from my preps, right? Because of the shrinkflation and this inflation. And to be specific here, though, as you can see, I'm having a hard time keeping my freezer stocked up. And the snack part of it on my working pantry, I'm really having a hard time keeping that stocked up. So therefore, I'm really taking from my canned goods, which is from really my emergency foods, because I don't eat canned goods on a daily basis. I just have them as a backup plan if anything ever happens to my freezer, well, my fresh meats, basically. And so I have to take on those canned goods to supplement my working pantry. And I've utilized all my stocked up snacks. My children just know where they are and they just go for them. The moment the one is out, they go for another one. So I have to find a way to harness this and be a little bit draconian with them, because the current system is really not working for us. A second thing here, you guys, I'm having an issue with is fuel. I'm thinking everyone is having this issue anyway. And so basically fuel has doubled for me, my bill, because I budget myself as into how much I spend on things. And so really it has doubled, and therefore that means it's taking away the money that has been earmarked for something else, especially when it comes to the preps. So far, I've been able to keep my car full tank, and I'm using really this 14-gallon fuel can to stock up fuel right now, because there are times when you go to the gas station, you don't find fuel. And so at least I know that I have something here as a backup, just in case, But in all honesty, I don't fill up the entire tank. This thing is so big and it's so heavy to take it out of the car. And so I usually just stock up about 10 gallons of it, because then I can take it out of the car a little bit easier, because it cannot stay at the back of my car. This is a sedan, so I use this on my daily basis for other stuff. So because of the fuel issue, I should mention though that I've been not able to go to the land to go fix that. The land is about 2.5 hours away, and so that has stopped a little bit until I can actually figure out how to go around fuel issues, which I'm not so sure exactly how that's going to happen. But I can see that gas is going down. Thank goodness for that. And I don't know for how long, even though we are still very high from where we were, at the beginning of this, it's still very high. But it's at least not going up as it was every other day or every other week, making it very difficult to budget ourselves. So I'm a little bit happy about that. So I can say that this year I'm really all over the place. I just seem to go where the flow is when it comes to my preps. Since Russian war started, what I did was to get these nuclear fallout basic preps. I was not even sure if I was ready to do this, you guys, but it was clear that it was now or never. And I'm glad that I did, buy this stuff. And I still need to expand on this. There's a lot of other stuff that I would like to buy, but at least these are just the basics. And it's very difficult now to get some of these items, especially the potassium iodine tablet. It's potassium iodine tablets. And so it took me like 2 months to get those. And when the shipping was supposed to be just for 3 business days, and it took months. So I'm really glad I was able to do that. And so trying to get sorted out here, you guys, with everything that's going on, it's very difficult. And so I try by all means to go back and realize, hey, this was the year I was supposed to do a lot of other stuff like gardening. I've been having a lot of excuses when it comes to gardening. And one of them was just to have this amazing backyard that has raised beds before I start gardening anything. So I decided that excuse is limiting me. I should start learning how to garden right now, especially on the veggies that I will be using or I'll be needing the most to supplement my preps. So I started with onions, right? I just took the boxes, shipping boxes that I had, and I just put soil in there, and I started gardening. I had a failure on these onions. Even though they were growing so well, I was thinking that everything was going to, go okay with them, but they were not bulbing. So I found out that was due to me growing onions that I'm not supposed to grow for my area. So, and I was like, okay, see, that's a good thing that I started right now to start, learning how to do these things. So I'm going to come back to this. I even tried composting system, which caused a lot of bugs out there. So I need to figure out exactly how to do that as well. So I'm glad that I'm starting to do things. I'm starting to be active, and that way I can sort out my errors now when I still can, versus trying to sort out those errors when it's too late, when everything is already closed down. And I'm trying to learn how to, because it's not just about, putting that seed to the ground and, let it grow. There's a lot more into gardening than that. So that being said, I also need to mention this, that I've been trying to close up loopholes on my preps, which if you've watched my previous videos, I realized one day that I cannot stock up water for more than 24 hours in my bathtub. So I needed to find something else that I can use in order for me to stock up water that I'll be using for the actual toilet, just in case anything happens. And also, if I'm not able to use the toilet altogether, at least I have I don't know if you know those biodegradable loo powders that you just put on your once you're actually done with your number one. You can actually you can solidify whatever you have. And so I already have a toilet. I think I showed you that, you guys, and I have a lot of biodegradable plastics that I will use for those for that particular toilet. I was just needing those biodegradable loo powders, and I also needed a barrel here, you guys, and I was able to try this out, and it works out perfectly. So I'm glad I was able to do this. And so that's one of the things I was trying to do. I was trying to find out exactly what loopholes do I have on my preps, and that's why I can try to close those down. So I've been really busy with work, kids, sometimes church. Everything else that I mentioned has also been keeping me busy. So it was very, very difficult for me to realize how badly my pantry was being affected by not being able to refill it and restocking it at the same rate that I was using it. I knew I was buying items, but I was using more items than I was buying. So when I checked this out, I realized that, of course, the staple items like rice, flour, maize, oats, pasta, dry beans, salt, and sugars were okay. The issue there was probably the pasta was really going down there. I needed to refill that pot, and pasta sauces, milk, and peanut butter. Peanut butter has been very difficult to buy, and so I was just overlooking that and say, I'm going to buy it when it's available. I'm going to buy it when it's available. But no, apparently it was just not coming back fast enough for me to buy that. And on phase 3, you guys, that's where I'm on the red zone. Canned meat and soups and veggies, cereals, granola bars, ready fruit juices, snacks, all that stuff, I'm on the red zone at. And so some of the stuff is very good for 2 months or less, but some of them I'm really already out of that. So I had to really focus on this month. And so it's not going to be just this month, but it's just going to be also next month as well, because 1 month I'm not going to be able to all that stuff that is missing. So I'm dedicating this next 2 months into working on this particular phase on my preps, food preps, to make sure that I fill this thing up and it's ready to go. And so the goal is really to have 6 months worth of food stocked up, and I'm still really trying by all means to have that. And I was supposed to update you with this, you guys, last month or so. That's what I've been trying to do this month. It's just trying to fill up these gaps. And some of them, of course, like I said, it may take 2. And sometimes I'm thinking maybe 3 months, because some of these items are too expensive to try and include them on all 1 month's budgets or 2 months' budgets. You know what I need to tell you guys is that it was surprising for me that, when you're hungry, there was a time when we were out of fresh meat for a whole week. And so I had to use on my canned goods. And so one of the things that I tried to buy and that I was like hesitant on trying it was the sperm. I tried it one day. I didn't like it much, but I tried it again, and I realized that when you're really hungry, apparently this thing doesn't taste so bad, and I liked it a lot. And so I realized that it's a good thing that, when you have this food, when you're hungry, when you need something to eat, it's gonna be your saving grace. You're gonna be happy that you have the stuff in your closet. Not in your closet, in your pantry. So I'm really consolidating my preps, you guys, reevaluating my state of mind, I'm not a person who does well in under panic mode, so I am taking one step at a time and making sure that everything is taken care of. I'm just gonna go ahead and end my video here, you guys. But I'm hoping that one day I can just talk about exactly where my state of mind is on all this stuff. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. Go ahead and stay tuned for the next video. Stay blessed.